You know that feeling when you get a new piece of technology, like a new phone or laptop?
Oh yeah, the out-of-the-box experience.
Exactly. You turn it on for the first time and everything is set to default. The brightness is halfway, the background's some generic photo, all the notifications are on.
It's all pre-configured at the factory,
hmm
and, most people just kind of use it like that.
They do. They might change the wallpaper, but they never really dig into the settings to change how the machine actually
They
works.
just work around the defaults instead of making the defaults work for them.
Yes, they work around them. And I think a lot of us feel like our brains are the same way.
That we came with a certain set of factory settings.
Right, that we can't change. We say things like, oh, I'm just an anxious person, or I've just got a short fuse, or I'm a procrastinator.
We treat them like they're hardware specs. Like, sorry, can't upgrade that.
Yeah, I've only got 4 gigs of patience. That's it for me.
And that's the "this is just who I am" trap. It's it's comforting in a way because it means you don't have to take responsibility.
If it's hardware, you can't fix it.
But it's also a prison. It assumes your personality is this fixed statue and you're just stuck with it.
Well, today we are going to try and smash that statue. We're looking at a text that claims you can actually physically alter the instrument of your mind.
And we're not just talking about thinking happy thoughts. This goes much deeper.
No. This is about retiring old brain cells, as the author puts it, and growing new ones.
It's basically mental architecture.
Hmm.
We're breaking down Chapter 12 of William Walker Atkinson's Thought Vibration.
The chapter is called Developing New Brain Cells. And I have to ask, this book is from the early 1900s, right? This isn't exactly modern neuroscience.
It was published in 1906. And that is what makes it so fascinating.
Okay.
Atkinson was part of the New Thought movement.
Yeah.
And while he didn't have, fMRIs or anything like that, his intuitive grasp of how the brain forms habits is almost perfectly aligned with what we now call neuroplasticity.
So he was way ahead of his time.
Way ahead. He argues the brain isn't the master, it's the instrument. And if that instrument is playing a tune you don't like, a tune of, say, fear or laziness, you don't have to just sit there and listen.
You can retune the keys.
You can retune the keys. I love that image.
Moving from being a slave to your impulses to being the master of the instrument. That's our mission for today.
Precisely. We're going to break down how to do that, using Atkinson's original ideas and connecting them to some surprisingly modern psychology.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
So let's pop the hood. We need to start with the biology, or at least the biology as Atkinson understood it.
Right. He talks about brain cells in a way that feels a bit agricultural. He says we have millions of unused brain cells just waiting to be cultivated. Is that literal?
Well, in 1906, it was a theoretical framework. Today, we talk about neural pathways or synaptic pruning. But the core mechanism he describes, it's spot on.
Use it or lose it.
It's exactly that. He says brain cells, or habits, develop through use, and they atrophy through disuse.
He uses this great analogy of the brain as a musical instrument to explain this. I think that really helps visualize it. Imagine a piano.
Right. Think of your mind as a grand piano. Now, if you're someone who worries a lot, you've spent years just hammering away on the worry keys.
You're playing the minor chords, the anxiety key, the doubt key, the what if key.
Every single day, you play them constantly.
And because you play them so much, the action on those keys becomes incredibly smooth. You barely have to touch them, and they make a sound.
Exactly. They're well-oiled, the springs are loose. In modern terms, that neural pathway is a superhighway. It's the path of least resistance.
Meanwhile, the other keys, like the confidence key or the patience key, the boldness key, what happens to them?
They get stiff. Dust settles on them. The mechanism gets rusty from disuse.
So when you try to be patient, it feels physically difficult. The instrument itself seems to resist you.
It does. You press the key and nothing happens. Or it sounds clunky and out of tune.
And this is such a crucial distinction. Because usually when we try to change and it feels hard, we interpret that difficulty as a character flaw. We think, I'm just not strong enough.
Yes, we moralize it. We say, I'm a bad person because I yelled, or I'm weak because I procrastinated.
But Atkinson's point is that it's not a moral failing.
It's a mechanical issue. It's not that your soul is broken. It's just that the physical instrument has been shaped by your past habits. You're trying to play a concerto on a piano that hasn't been tuned in 20 years.
That's actually really relieving. It takes all the shame out of the equation.
It should. If I struggle to be calm, it's just that my calmness keys are sticky. And sticky keys can be fixed.
It takes work, though.
Right. And Atkinson uses another metaphor here that I think is maybe even better for understanding the how. He talks about a piece of paper.
Okay, I'm with you. A sheet of paper.
If you fold that paper, you create a crease. The next time you want to fold the paper, where does it naturally want to bend?
Right along that crease. It's the path of least resistance.
That's your habit. That's your brain on autopilot. Every single time you get angry when someone cuts you off in traffic, you're just running your finger along that same crease. You're deepening the fold.
So neuroplasticity is basically the art of smoothing out that old crease.
And folding the paper in a new direction.
And here's the thing about folding paper. The first time you try to fold it against the crease, what happens?
It fights back. It wants to pop back into the old fold. It feels messy, unnatural.
This is where most people quit, isn't it?
Absolutely. They try to be confident or calm. It feels weird and forced. And they say, see, this isn't me. I'm being inauthentic.
But Atkinson would say,
He'd say, no, you aren't being inauthentic. You are just folding the paper against the grain. You have to do it over and over until the new crease is deeper than the old one.
neurons that fire together, wire together.
It is the exact same principle. He was asserting that we're not fixed. He says we have the remedy in our own hands. We can give the overworked anger cells a rest and start routing that energy to the unused patience cells.
Yeah. But to do that, you have to make a big mental shift.
You have to separate the player from the instrument.
Which brings us to the second core concept. You are not your emotions. This is a tough one because in the moment, it feels so real. When I'm angry, I don't feel like I have anger. I feel like I am anger.
It consumes the whole screen.
Yeah.
But that's the illusion. Atkinson points out that most people live as slaves to their emotions. They identify completely with the feeling. They merge their identity with this temporary state.
They say, I am sad instead of I am feeling sadness.
And that grammatical difference is a massive psychological canyon.
It really is.
If you say, I am sad, you're defining your whole existence by a temporary chemical state. But if you say, I am feeling sadness, you're the observer of that state.
Atkinson calls this the I am.
The I am. It's the will, the executive, the musician sitting at the piano. Just because the piano's playing a sad tune doesn't mean you're sad. You're the user of the instrument.
So how do we actually break that identification in the heat of the moment? Because when the red mist descends, I'm usually not thinking about being a pianist.
You have to cultivate what some people call the observer self. Think of the sky and the clouds. The clouds are your emotions. Anger, fear, joy, boredom. They're constantly moving, changing, getting dark, getting light. But the sky is always there. The sky contains the clouds, but it is not the clouds.
So I'm the sky.
You are the sky.
Yep.
The clouds can't hurt the sky. Storms can't destroy the sky. When you realize that, you get your power back.
Your agency.
Your agency. If you are the master, you can decide which keys to press. You can see your hand reaching for that old worry key, that automatic reflex, and say, nope, not today. That key is retired. Today, we're pressing the action key.
It's about reclaiming that role. But let's be real. Sometimes that urge, that pull toward the old habit is overwhelming.
It's like a magnetic pull.
Yeah. And if I just sit there and grit my teeth and try not to be anxious, I usually end up focusing on the anxiety even more. It just spirals.
And that is the classic trap, the white bear effect.
Yeah.
And this is where Atkinson gives us our third core concept, and it's arguably the most practical one of all.
Which is?
Replacement, not resistance.
Replacement, not resistance.
Okay, unpack that. Why shouldn't I fight a negative thought? If I want to quit a bad habit, shouldn't I fight the urge?
Think about the mechanics of fighting a thought. If I tell you right now, don't think about a pink elephant.
A pink elephant just popped into my head
That's right.
immediately.
You saw the trunk, the ears, everything. To not think about something, your brain has to first conjure the image of the very thing you're trying to avoid, just so it can tag it with a no.
So you're keeping that neural pathway active.
Yeah.
You're giving it energy.
You're feeding it. Atkinson says fighting it is actually feeding it. He has this beautiful line.
Darkness is not driven out by shoveling it away, but by introducing light.
It's profound physics, isn't it? You can't shovel darkness. You can stand in a dark room swinging a shovel for 100 years, and it will still be dark.
But if you light one candle, flip one switch, the darkness is gone. It just vanishes.
So in mental terms, the shoveling is the rumination, the why am I so anxious? I hate being anxious. I need to stop being anxious.
Yes, that is shoveling darkness. You're obsessed with the problem. The strategy is to starve the negative by ignoring it and aggressively feed the opposite quality.
So if you want to stop being fearful, Don't analyze the fear.
Spend your time cultivating courage. It's like gardening. You don't just stand there shouting at the weeds. You plant flowers so densely that the weeds have no room to grow.
I like that.
Atkinson says that one positive thought will counteract a number of negative thoughts. The positive is the stronger plant. The negative thought is actually quite fragile. It only survives because we keep watering it with our attention.
He also talks about putting old habits on the retired list.
Which I love. It implies they're still there. We don't get rid of them, but they're no longer active employees. We stop paying them. We stop feeding them.
And eventually those neural pathways, those folds in the paper, they start to flatten out.
They do. But here's the tricky part. I can sit here and think positive thoughts all day long.
Right. I can sit on my couch staring at the ceiling thinking, I am courageous, I am energetic. But if I'm still sitting on the couch eating chips, nothing is actually changing.
You're just delusional at that point. You're engaging in fantasy, not change. And that is the critical missing link. This is where Atkinson really separates himself from some of the more passive, wishful thinking philosophies.
He says thinking is not enough.
He says thinking is absolutely not enough. You must act it out.
You have to act it out.
He is very firm on this. There is a loop between your mind and your body. We all know that thoughts influence actions. If I feel happy, I smile.
Yeah.
It's top down.
But it works the other way too, bottom up.
Yes. Actions recoil and influence thoughts. William James, the father of American psychology, said the exact same thing around the same time. If you force yourself to smile,
Like physically engage the muscles?
physically engage the muscles in your face, your brain actually starts to produce the chemicals associated with happiness.
So the motion triggers the emotion.
Precisely. If you want to be cheerful, you can't wait until you feel cheerful. You have to physically act cheerful. Hold your head up, put a smile on your face, speak with a vibrant tone.
You have to press the keys on the piano as if you were already a master player.
That's the act it until you become it idea. Not just fake it till you make it. This is practice it until you embody it. It's rehearsal.
And this is backed by modern science. You mentioned Peter Gollwitzer earlier.
Yes, his research on what are called implementation intentions. The problem with just holding a thought is that when stress hits, our brains just revert to the old creased fold in the paper. We go back to autopilot.
The logical part of the brain goes offline.
It does. And the habit part, the basal ganglia, takes over. So we need a plan that bridges that gap between the thought and the action.
And that's the if-then plan.
If-then planning. You don't wait for the feeling. You automate the response. You decide beforehand, if this specific trigger happens, then I will do this specific action.
So you don't have to negotiate with yourself in the moment.
Because negotiation is death. If you have to ask yourself, do I really feel like working out today? The answer is always going to be no.
Always.
But if the rule is, if it's 7 in the morning, then I put on my shoes, there's no debate. It's just what you do.
I love that.
Yeah.
No negotiation. Let's make this real. We've got 3 areas to apply this: work, relationships, and habits. Let's start with the big one, work.
The universal enemy, procrastination.
Oh, I know this one. The wall of awful. You've got a big project, you sit down, and suddenly you have a burning desire to clean your desk.
Or check the news. Or get a snack.
Anything but the actual task.
Right. What's happening there is you're feeling a spike of cortisol stress when you think about the task. Your brain wants to relieve that stress immediately. So it nudges you toward an easy dopamine hit, social media, a cookie, whatever.
So I'm feeding the avoidance brain cells. I'm deepening that crease.
Exactly. Every time you turn away, you're teaching your brain. When we feel stress, we run away. You're validating the fear.
Okay, so let's use the if-then strategy. What does the replacement look like?
The replacement attitude is, do it now. The implementation is, if I sit at my desk, then I immediately open the document.
Not, I check my email. Not, I'll just get a coffee first.
If desk, then document. You make the barrier to entry non-existent. You don't even have to write the whole thing. Just open the document and type one sentence.
It sounds so simple, but it just cuts off the entire debate.
That is the whole point. You're retraining the instrument. You are forcing the action key to sound. And here's the magic. Once you take that first tiny action, what happens to the dread?
It usually just evaporates. The anticipation was way worse than the reality.
The action changes the thought. Momentum builds. And you've successfully folded the paper in the new direction.
Okay, next up. Relationships. This is where the stakes feel so high. The reactive speech pattern.
This is the easy key on the piano for so many people. Someone criticizes you, maybe your boss or your spouse, or they just use a certain tone of voice.
And snap. You
Go.
fire back a defensive comment before you've even processed what they said.
It's instantaneous. It feels like a reflex, like touching a hot stove.
It is a reflex. It's a well-worn path in your brain. So the replacement trait we want is what? Poise, self-control.
Right. But you can't just will yourself to be calm in the heat of the moment.
Because the master is offline, the emotional brain has hijacked the controls.
Correct. So you need a physical interrupt. You need to jam a wrench in the gears of the machine.
Atkinson talks about the power of silence here. Do not be quick to speak.
The action plan has to be physical.
Hmm.
So if I feel that surge of anger, that tightening in my chest or the heat in my face, then I will physically close my mouth and take one deep breath through my nose.
That pause, it's everything.
It is. Viktor Frankl, the psychologist and Holocaust survivor, he famously said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response.
We're widening that space.
That pause is the moment where you take your hand off the anger key and you just hover over the reason key. You're cultivating the pause before the play. And often, in those 2 seconds of silence, the other person's energy changes too.
You change the whole dynamic. Okay, third one, general habits. The drift.
This is the morning routine struggle. How do you start your day?
Well, the old pattern is waking up and immediately grabbing the phone. Still half asleep, one eye open, scrolling through emails, headlines, social media.
You're letting the world dictate your mood before you've even had a glass of water.
You're starting the day in a reactive state. Slave, not master.
You're telling your brain, I am a consumer of content, not a creator of my life.
So the replacement we want is purpose, focus. We have a great reference here from Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor. He struggled with this too.
He did. In his meditations, he basically argues with himself in the morning. He says something like, is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm?
He had to remind himself he was rising to do the work of a human being.
He had to assert his will against the comfort of the blankets. So what's our modern anchor?
What is it?
A simple, non-negotiable action. The if-then plan could be, if my feet hit the floor, then I state my purpose for the day. Or even simpler, if my alarm goes off, then I stand up.
No hitting snooze.
Hitting snooze is practicing procrastination. Think about that. The very first decision you make in the day is, I will delay what I promised to do.
That's brutal, but true.
You are drilling the delay habit. We want to drill the action habit. By creating a tiny anchor, a specific physical movement, you're tuning in the instrument right at the start of the concert.
You're setting the tone for the whole day.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have the method. Starve the negative, feed the positive, lock it in with action. But I feel like things can go wrong. I know I've tried to change habits before and failed. What are the common pitfalls?
There are 5 big mistakes people make when they try this. We've actually touched on the first one already. Fighting the old thought directly.
Right. Shoveling darkness. Don't argue with the anxiety.
The fix is to switch attention immediately. Turn your back on it and look at the positive image instead.
Okay. What's the next mistake?
Inconsistency. This is the exceptions trap. You say, I'll be disciplined, but just this once, I'll let it slide. It's the weekend.
It's a holiday. I'm tired. I'll start again on Monday.
Exactly. And Atkinson warns us about this. Remember the folded paper. Every time you make an exception, you're flattening out that new crease you were trying to make. You're undoing your hard work.
He says it's like dropping a ball of string that you've been carefully winding up.
Yes, and that a single slip undoes more than many turns will wind up again. Consistency is what folds the paper. You have to be rigid, especially at the start. No exceptions.
Okay, mistake number 3.
Waiting to feel like it.
We smashed that one.
Yeah.
Action precedes motivation. Move the body and the mind will follow. If you wait for the feeling, you'll be waiting forever.
Correct. The 4th mistake is identifying with the failure. This happens when you do slip up, and you will slip up, we're human. The mistake is saying, see, I knew I couldn't do it. I am a failure.
That's the I am trap again. I'm a failure versus I failed at this one moment.
Exactly. The fix is a technique called cognitive diffusion. Instead of saying, I am a failure, you say, I am having the thought that I am failing.
That creates distance. It separates the master from the event.
Precisely. And the final mistake is expecting instant results.
The microwave solution. We meditate once and expect to be enlightened.
But this is biology. You're literally growing new cells. You are building new neural pathways. It's like growing a muscle. You can't go to the gym once and expect to look like a bodybuilder.
It takes time.
It is a biological process that takes time. You have to respect the timeline of the body. You plant the seed, you water it, and then you wait. You trust the process.
All right, I want to make this really actionable for everyone listening right now. We promised a guided exercise. This is the new brain cell builder.
Let's walk through this together. You can do this mentally right now or just pause and write it down. We're going to build a custom protocol.
First step, pick one trait you want to grow. Just one. Don't try to fix your whole life today. Is it courage, focus, calm? What is it?
Pick the one that's most urgent for you. The one that, if you fixed it, would change everything.
Got it.
Okay. Next step. Name the opposite trait, the one you're putting on the retired list. Is it fear, distraction, anxiety? Name the enemy.
Okay. Next step, choose one short inner statement that matches the new trait. A mantra. I am steady. I am focused. I am kind.
Make it present tense. I am, not I will be, I am. Now, the next step is crucial. Choose one proof action you will do today, not tomorrow. Today. What's one small thing that proves you're this new person?
Make that phone call. Tidy your desk. Send that one email.
Something small, something provable. Next step. Identify the trigger. When does the old trait usually show up? Is it when the phone rings, when you open your email?
Spot the enemy at the gate. Be the watchman.
Right. And then, next step. Practice a replacement response. When that trigger happens, what will you do instead?
Yeah.
Will you take one deep breath? Will you smile? Will you stand up? Visualize it right now. See yourself doing it.
And the final step. Close with a calm recommitment to yourself. Just tell yourself, I will do this again tomorrow.
Repetition is power. That is how the brain is built. You're just laying the first brick of a new building.
I feel more in control just hearing that laid out. It breaks it down into such manageable pieces. It's not magic, it's just mechanics.
That is the beauty of Atkinson's work. It removes the mystery and makes it mechanical. You are the mechanic of your own mind.
So let's recap what we've learned today. We've covered a lot of ground here.
Let's boil it down to the absolute essentials.
First, your brain is an instrument, and you can retune the keys. It is not fixed.
Next, habits are built by use. They are destroyed by disuse. It's use it or lose it.
Third, you are the master, not the slave of your emotions. You're the player, not the piano.
Fourth, never fight a negative thought. Replace it with a positive one. Starve the weeds, feed the flowers.
Fifth, you must act out the new trait to make it real. The action triggers the feeling.
Sixth, consistency is what folds the paper and grows the cell. No exceptions, especially at the start.
And finally, start today with one small proof action. Prove it to yourself.
That's the pass.
Next time, we're going even deeper into the engine room. We've tuned the instrument, but how do we power it? We're going to talk about desire, force, and attraction.
That's a fascinating topic. We're going to look at how to take this new mental machinery we've built and use it to actually start pulling opportunity toward you.
So it moves from internal architecture to external magnetism.
Exactly.
I cannot wait for that one. It sounds like the perfect follow-up.
Me neither.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.